Welcome back to Power CEOs, the truth behind the business. We are going to switch gears a little bit because I have our next guest here. Sylvia Kang is a biomedical engineer. She's a CEO and founder of Mira, which is a market leading hormonal health company that's really making waves in women's health. She has been recognized by Fast Company and Incorporated, but the truth is, behind that rapid rise to success is a reality that most entrepreneurs don't talk about. The hidden challenges that come with building a fast growing company, and then what happens when we actually achieve success. You're going to want to buckle up and welcome our special guest. Welcome, Sylvia.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Sylvia.
Sylvia, truly, the unspoken realities of entrepreneurial success is something that needs to be shared. You have been published. I read an article, and you spoke a lot about what happens when you finally look up and you're like, "Wow, I've achieved this success, but I'm lonely. There's isolation. There's a lot of other hidden costs that come with this." Can you talk to me a little bit about your journey and what was the most surprising hidden cost of success?
Yeah, sure. Happy to do that. So I started Mira when I was a little bit over 30 years old and really trying to start a family. And I realized there was really no solution for women to understand their hormone level. So trying to conceive was becoming very challenging for women. As having a delayed maternal age, and they either test by ovulation predictor kit, which is one line versus two line, very confusing, or they have to spend out of pocket $30,000 per cycle for the IVF. So I was like, I really need to invent something, for women to test their hormone at home, and doctor can understand the hormone better, so the treatment outcome will be better too. And given my background was biomedical engineering, so I invented Mira, which is the hormone tester for a consumer to do that at home. So you can take action based on that, regardless you're trying to conceive, or you're menopausing, or having irregular cycles, or so on. And the company was really growing and become very successful, especially post COVID. So we had a really high growth rate. And then obviously my life changed along the way. So talking about the challenges that I didn't expect when I started Mira, I think there are several things. One is it was a very lonely and long-term journey, especially at the beginning of your startup, startup journey, and have been working on something for so long, and you have no idea if that's going to be successful, and your friends or family, they don't believe in that, because they're like, why don't you just stay in a big company and get a good pay, and rather than really risking your time on something that's so uncertain. And then also what I realized is that I started to have a very different like a journey, like a growth journey, and the daily experience than my friends. So it's become more and more difficult to connect with the friends.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when the founder started the company, there is a very long period of time. You probably don't see any return. You see deduction of your own pay, and you probably cannot change your house to be something big. You cannot have a second child. So you have to be really cautious about what you're spending. But after a certain point, when the company become much more successful and your wealth definitely grows, much, much faster than you have a paid job.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very different experience than most of my friends who are going through the corporate ladder, and they what they worry about and what I worry about are totally different. And after a while, when you become more successful and your friends only looking to you for your highlights, they say, wow, you won this award and the product, and it's fantastic, you got being featured on some journal whatsoever. But they don't really appreciate your journey. They don't say how things become like that. They don't say what you worry every day, what you concern every day, what your value is, what's important to you. So that pushed me to go to really expand my network and trying to know more friends, like other people who have been successful entrepreneurs before, or share some similar experience as me. But that also has been a challenging journey, because it's rare to see women as an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur, and working in women's house. And I'm not white. I'm not white. So it's like a very niche, so it's difficult to find a role model.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest things is people who are not in the arena with you and haven't been on the journey, they don't understand it. And one of the things that I hear a lot, because I actually coach many entrepreneurs and many entrepreneurial women, one of the things I hear is I don't have anyone who I can actually share my successes with because they don't understand. And I can also not share my challenges. So, how did you rebuild that circle? How did you find the circle for you? Like, what did that look like? Because I know my viewers are asking that question. That's great. I feel this viscerally. How do I find the people who I can share these wins and it not have maybe a backhanded compliment to it?
Yeah, so I think the strategy I used was I just try to diverse my network. So it used to be I share very similar experience with my peers, so we can talk about everything in the life. But once I started the company, it become very different. I still have good connection with my old friends. So we talk about daily life, somewhere like good food or like how kids are doing, going to school, whatsoever. But at the same time, I do have another level, like a layer of interest, like how to run a successful business, how to manage the wealth, and how do you really pursue the next goal, how do you manage your team, and even something very practical, like how to run the company on a day-to-day basis. I couldn't share with anyone, and those challenges were the emotional up and downs were very difficult to be shared and to be compassionate about as well. So I went to a lot of events, try to connect with other entrepreneurs, and also I learned that there's many entrepreneur community, and they're different. Some are more for later stage companies, some for earlier stage company. The key over there is like you have to find the people who are similar to you, because even earlier stage and later stage, they're totally talking about different things. And you don't have to be in the exactly same industry, but I would say if you find other founders, and then maybe you can share something on a day-to-day basis, and that can serve that goal. And for even higher, like near future whatsoever, you probably can connect with someone linking or find some advisor. I wouldn't really say mentor, because I think it's difficult for anyone can really mentor a startup CEO, because CEO is like such a like a multi-dimensional job. But you can have mentor on different things, like you're interested in finance, you know how to run finance, you can find consultant about that, and you can find consultant about team management, how to manage your HR function or technical development or new product development. So yeah, so we did a lot of that. So that really helped me on a day-to-day basis, very practically, how do I deal with my life. And I think the last piece will be emotional support. I think that's the hardest part. Honestly, I didn't really find any specific person can share 100%, what exactly I feel. But I know my friends still care about me.
Mhm.
I talk with them. I still talk with them. Be honest about that, and they can show their, compassion, although they may not understand 100%. So I think we should accept that. Their good intention, and also another thing I found was like I started to read a lot of books recently. In the past couple of years, I was reading more than like 120 books per year, and one primary goal for that was really trying to look for some advice. And I found that's actually a really good tool. People do talk about everything you suffer, like emotion or connection, and even how to run a company. There is some scientific science behind that. So once you understand that, you put the situation in a perspective, you reframe, and you deal with that more like a, not take it personal. Basically, you have the
Mhm.
space between the thing, and how you can deal with that. So that helped me to really think much more clearly.
I share your love of reading and self development as well. But talk to me a little bit about the other thing that happens, and that's when you've always set a goal. Like let's be real. High performing individuals who have goals and aspirations, who are founders of companies, we have this goal, we have this financial goal. Then we meet that financial goal, and we're like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel the way I thought it would when I get there. I had that experience. It sounds like a lot of people have that experience. So how did you determine once you hit the big milestone, whether it was financially or a level of business success, like how did you rediscover your sense of purpose and fulfillment beyond that goal?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, And there is no set checkpoint or milestone for that based on my experience. So I'm basically just in a day-to-day basis, like operation drive for the next months of growth, next years of company growth. And it's really been a point that I realized, okay, now it's a starting point of the success. That success was only realized when I was looking back. I was looking back and when I review and I say, oh, this is how much I have gone, how far I have gone, and how much has been different. And that everything. It's not just like a number of employees or your revenue, but how you think and how you appreciate life, what's important to you, how you spend your everyday time. All this become different. And then you start to think about, okay, maybe I'm on the next level of my life. I should think about something more than just I was purely focusing on driving the growth for the company or whatsoever. So that's the time I started really to reflect. And then obviously reading so many books was really helpful to me. And what I realized is that the fortune or money you're making and even your career, all these are like temporary, and they have it's not like your ultimate goal. Basically, it's great. I think it's great we're doing this business and we impact people, we help people. That's what I really motivate me, because I see our product is really helping women, having a better healthcare. And obviously women's health industry has so much gap. And we need some company like this to disrupt the here and there and push consumer awareness, push the doctors' awareness, and eventually this healthcare system will be able to absorb and accept the women's health and more as the standard practice. So that's definitely pushing the society forward. Another thing I really like to do right now is to share. I go to a lot of panel discussion in the Bay Area, and including interviews like this, and trying to share my personal experience, ups and downs. Hopefully, can inspire more people going through this journey, entrepreneur journey or women leadership, or women entrepreneur. That's even harder. So I think that's very. I mean, from the feedback I heard, it was really inspirational, because when I was going through that journey, I never had a role model. So I think those younger people will like to have that. And then eventually, ultimately about what I want to do. And I think yes, building this business successfully is definitely a great thing. But I think eventually it will come down to be what kind of person I want to be. So I want to be a great person. I want to contribute to the society. So basically, the question goes back to what value do you hold? What's truly important to me? And that answer is for sure not money, not
Yep.
company, not the career, because those are things outside of you. It's not something define you. So maybe my value is like I really, want to contribute more to the world. I want to share. I want to be curious. I want to know more. I want to maximize my own experience to live a really fulfilling life. This is for myself, and for others, really helping other people, as many as possible, expand my impact, things like those. So,
Absolutely. We do have to take a brief break, but we're going to dive right back into this after these messages.